The local conversation program emerged from Strong Towns, as you know, kind of just organically and then became this more structured program. And Strong Towns, of course, emerged because the prevailing pattern of development is making North American cities and towns weak and fragile. And we seek to change that. Local conversations are building communities that are, in contrast to that weak and fragile model, resilient, safe, equitable, and strong. And so the goal for tonight is for you to leave with more information, skills, support to lead effective meetings as you do that critical work of making your town strong. So I'll pause here, and if you drop in the chat or unmute, whatever's easier for you, what do you hope to gain from this session? So I see if we have a smaller group, it can be difficult to have quiet groups, strategies to spur interaction. Okay, awesome. Other things you hope to gain from this session? Thanks, Brian. Hey, Lawrence, you're open to learning if there is a special Strong Towns methodology that might be different from other meetings that you've been to and conducted. I think a lot of the same principles apply, but let's get into it. And feel free to keep dropping into the chat your different hopes from this session, and we'll hopefully get to all of them over the course of our meeting. So, thinking about meetings in a Strong Towns context, why do meetups matter? And I'll shout out my colleague Norm on the right of this photo. This is a picture from his local conversation in Delta, British Columbia. And so meetings overall matter in a couple different ways. One, you're creating momentum. Having regular meetings gives folks in your local conversation touch points to hold to grow from, and to kind of build with. Meetings also help build community and relationships. It's a lot different to talk to somebody over, Facebook Messenger than it is to meet with them in a coffee shop. Meetings will help group members learn and practice new skills. So you can use your meetings as a way to either share information, talk about different kind of points of view for information, or to practice skills. What does it mean to give a public comment at your city council? Can we workshop that together and let members of your group who otherwise wouldn't necessarily be comfortable making that public comment build the skills that they need to be successful at that? Meetings also can serve to foster a shared vision and to help you make collective decisions. A lot of groups outside of Strong Towns have one key leader who goes forward with a lot of decision making and leaves some people behind. Having regular meetings and meetups allow for you to have that communal decision making process. Having a clear agenda with a start and an end time and means that your meetings will kind of fall under this bucket where they're creating momentum, building community and relationships, growing your skills, rather than just being a drain on people's time. And consistent meetings really build up predictability, trust, and a sense of belonging for members who are in your group or looking to join your group. So there's a few kind of pieces of a great meeting that all of our really successful local conversations have in common. I'm going to call that the blueprint for a great meeting. And this is kind of what you should be thinking about as you shape your meetups within your own local conversation. So the first thing would be to define your purpose. Is this a meeting that's about learning? Is this a meeting that is primarily for connecting? Are you meeting solely to just organize one event? Or is there a different kind of purpose to your meeting? And I think there's a couple different questions that you can ask yourself that I ask myself in planning meetings that kind of help shape that purpose of your meeting. Really, the question that I ask myself in forming a meeting agenda, one, where can you create opportunities for engagement? Is there a point of discussion that you can really focus in on? Is there an opportunity for group members to turn to their neighbor in the coffee shop and discuss something that's come up? Are there different ways you can engage people, especially if you've got a smaller group or a quieter group and kind of questions to the room don't land, people don't pick them up? Think about how and where you can create opportunities for people to engage in ways that are a little bit smaller or a little bit more comfortable for them. The next thing to kind of ask yourself on this defining the purpose of your meeting, is there a skill or a new idea that you really want participants to leave with? Like as you're walking home from the meeting that night, what do you want to say people learned? Like our meeting will be a success if everybody has a better understanding of what incremental housing development means, or our meeting would be a huge success if everybody felt a little bit more comfortable talking to their neighbor about coming to the next meeting. Or our meeting would be a success if we walk away from this meeting with a really strong sense of who's going to write the op-ed this week, whatever that is. Is there a new skill or a new idea that you want participants to leave with? And then overall, just what's your top goal, maybe top two for this meeting? Is it relationship building? Is it making a collective decision about an upcoming event? Is it a vote from your membership about adopting a new media plan? Is it that your number one goal is for them to practice a specific organizing skill? I find that it's really easy to set up a meeting with 15 different things that you want to do, and then none of those 15 things get done well. And people leave having learned different things and having focused on different pieces and having a clear purpose for your meeting that everybody is kind of engaged around helps you with that piece of momentum, community building, and kind of forward focus. Beyond defining your purpose for the meeting, create an agenda. Keep it simple but structured. A flexible but focused plan ensures good discussions. An agenda also really communicates that you respect people's time. You've got a start time and an end time. You're going to get certain things done. People know and trust that they can show up and learn from you that way. Once you've got an agenda, choose a good place to meet. So consider accessibility, comfort, and whether this space encourages conversation. There's a good balance here to strike between a place that's public, so people feel really comfortable coming there, and a place that is private enough that you can have good conversation. So coffee shops can be a really great place to meet, especially ones that have like longer tables kind of off to the corner that you could have a more private meeting in, but in a familiar coffee shop kind of environment. Same with breweries or brew pubs can fall into this category. You could do a reserved room at the library, especially if your group has met a couple times It can be intimidating for somebody brand new to walk into a closed room at the library, but it does offer a lot of space for discussion. There's not a whole lot of distractions coming in and out there. So definitely look for a public, comfortable place to meet. Then invite the right people. The fastest way to have a bad meeting is to have nobody show up. If you have people show up, it's going to be a much better meeting than just you by yourself. Um, think about your town and who needs to be at the table for your group to have the biggest impact. So it's this balance of outreach and inclusivity. If your group, the first 3 meetings are all retirees, think about if there's a person in their 20s or 30s that you could reach out to who might be excited about joining and could add a different perspective. Same with if you're a citywide group and you find that everybody at your first couple meetings is from the north side of town. Are there folks on the south side that you could engage so that you're hearing all of the perspectives in your town? Then, lastly, think about how you're going to set the tone. So, things like name tags, welcoming each person by name as they come in, introductions at the beginning of your meeting, even if people have met already. These sorts of kind of small touches really make meetings a lot more welcoming, especially for folks who are new to joining a community group like this. So then, once you're in your meeting, how do you keep it on track? First, start strong. It can be tempting to go from your kind of chit chat, you're talking with each other, everybody's mingling, things are good, and then all of a sudden you're in the meeting. And I'd encourage you to kind of try to avoid that gentle slide into the meeting and to rather have a firm kind of start to your meeting. We're all getting our drinks, we're chit-chatting, we're having a good time, and then welcome everyone. We're going to go ahead and get our meeting started. If you would find your seat and let's go ahead and begin. Having that clear start helps people move naturally into, oh, now we're having our discussion part of the meeting. When it comes to facilitating discussion and encouraging discussion among your members, I think there's a lot of different challenges that groups have. So I've heard from quite a few groups who feel like they've got this huge group, and so their quieter people never get to share anything. Smaller groups where one person dominates. You could have a small group where everybody's introverts, nobody wants to share, or you could have a group where everybody really wants to talk. And I think that kind of no matter where your group falls on that spectrum, think about how you're going to encourage participation from all voices, how you might handle dominant speakers and engage some of your more introverted members. And I've found that for me as a meeting facilitator, it is really helpful to name my norms up front. So saying something like, we want to hear from everyone, regardless of if this is your first meeting or you've been in city planning for years. And or I might name somebody in my meeting, Brian is going to be our timekeeper tonight. If we start going too far off of our meeting agenda, Brian has graciously agreed to call us back into the purpose for our meeting today. So if Brian cuts you off, thank him. It's a hard job to be the timekeeper. Thanks, Brian, for taking on that role. So before anybody takes the meeting in a different direction, or you find that somebody is really dominating the conversation, naming what you're going to do if that happens so that nobody's feelings get hurt, it's not awkward, but you've already kind of established everybody's going to get a chance to talk. We're going to have discussion time after XYZ presentation, and somebody is going to be in charge of making sure we stay on track. So in terms of facilitating discussion, naming that has been really helpful for me as a facilitator. Then staying focused. Really kind of the same thing. Ultimately, nobody wants to go to a meeting, spend an hour, meet these cool people, and then leave feeling like, what did we just do in that meeting? Right? You want people to leave and you want to leave going, oh man, that was awesome. We just accomplished XYZ and we talked about this and I learned this new thing. So stay focused on what it is that you're working on. And then end with purpose. So same as kind of the strong start. It can be awkward and de-energizing to have your meeting kind of peter out. You're going strong, and then all of a sudden now everybody's having side conversations, and is it time to leave or is it not time to leave? So ending your meeting with, thank you everybody for coming. Make sure you've signed up with your email so that we can reach back out to you. We can't wait to see you at the next meeting next month, same place. And now we're all going to move across the street to the brew pub, and you're welcome to stay and socialize. We'd love to see you there. That sort of change from we had our more formal meeting to now it's time to hang out and build relationships has worked really well for a lot of local conversations. You don't have to have that second part where it moves to a social gathering, like a purely social gathering. But if you are going to have that social gathering piece, and I totally encourage you to do that, definitely think about how you're going to delineate between our agenda meeting where we're getting some things done together collectively to now we're having side conversations and we're building relationships more one-on-one. As you're ending with purpose, think also about how you're going to follow up with your attendees to maintain engagement and momentum, because that individual follow-up a day or two after the meeting is really key to building a core group of people who are going to come to your meetings and